Welcome, Collective, to another great episode of Brews and Builds. And this episode could not have been done except by our amazing patrons. Whether you're part of the Collective, Squeeze Choir, BigTucks, Mr. Combo, Storm Count, it doesn't matter. We love you guys and thank you for the support. If you guys would like to support the CMD Tower team, head over to our Patreon, patreon.com/CMD Tower. We have a lot of different tiers on there. And of course, just to get in is $1 that gets you into the Collective. Definitely, guys, it's great to be a part of the Collective. Some of the rewards that you get for just the $1 tier, you get entered in with Plug. Unco AJ is going to be providing the voices today. One of the things you get submitted for, which is awesome. You get to provide the voices for Brews and Builds. Another one is when you're a part of our top tier. Every 3 months, we pick a random patron, which the group's not huge right now, so we might see a lot of Spencer Rabbits this year, or good old Lemony Lennings. But you guys will get to be on Brews and Builds and talk with Tuck and I about your decks and kind of where the grains, hops, yeast, and spice kind of work out. So lots of great benefits. And of course, our $5, $15, and $25, you actually get legitimate swag. Playmats, sleeves, stickers, RK Post patron tokens, whole lot of stuff.
All the good stuff, yeah. And they are awesome. Got to shout out real quick. Again, that foil playmat is sick.
Now, if you're a part of the Collective already, aka our patrons, and you have someone you want to invite to the Collective, because maybe it's some of the awesome benefits that you've been on the receiving end of, we do have a referral program. So any of you that join our Patreon, be sure to send the account a note just saying, hey, this patron referred me, and we're actually going to hook them up with some pretty cool swag. Just kind of depends on what tier you signed up for. Now, if you can't do a monthly subscription, but you want to get some of the swag, or even some of the swag that you can't even get as a patron, like the foil playmat, head over to our store, cmdtower.com/merch. Of course, that's where you can get our holiday sweaters, foil playmats, a bunch of the other accoutrements. Just a little update for any of the sweater folk. I appreciate everyone's patience with that. I do know where the boat is. It's in the LA harbor. I was able to see said picture of said container ship. We're just waiting for the dock to unload it. So really hoping to get to this to you guys ASAP. But like I said, anyone that had pre-ordered a holiday sweater before the new year, we are going to just include a little thank you because of the delay in your box. Because I know you guys want to wear this for the winter. You wanted to wear it for holiday parties. And, it's kind of bleeding into late winter, and it'll become harder and harder to wear. So we're going to take care of you guys. Don't worry. Definitely want to give you a little something to say thank you. Now, this audio was brought to you by Squee McGee.
Woo!
Now, if you're watching this on YouTube, one of the many short form videos that we're now doing, you got to give a big shout out to @_tcoats. Tyler is our video editor, and he was one that kind of came up with this great idea of why don't we separate out the long form videos, because some of you guys might only be degenerates like me and care about the yeast package, which if you don't know what that is, we'll get to that later. But, enjoy these short consumption videos. That was a piece of feedback that we had received from the community. We want to continue to do it. We've heard MTG Action 4 News is something you guys want to see on YouTube. Definitely going to talk and try to figure out how we could make that happen. But we want to be here to give you guys the content you want. You just need to let us know. So if we can improve our YouTube content, let Tyler know. He is the captain of that ship. Of course, just share the content you guys are watching and listening to. That's the free way to help, and that's the way that you guys can make an impact every single day. So Brews and Builds is our deck tech series. Since we conquered the path to 32 and the 12 themes of EDH decks, we have moved on to a classic brew from day one Brews and Builds with a traditional episode. We describe the brewing of decks similar to how beer is brewed. So we broke it down into 4 categories. My favorite section, how does the deck actually close out and win, which this deck's debatable. We call that yeast.
Yeast are microorganisms that eat the sugar from the grain and poop out alcohol and CO2. It adds the alcohol content and the carbonation. Without yeast, you'd be drinking flat sugar water. And without yeast cards, your deck wouldn't meet the goal of actually winning the game.
The part that I think BigTuck really just nailed home, we got a fun little pet card synergy section that we call Spice.
I think this is like the best spice package we've had in a while. But spice
it's pretty good.
Yeah, right? Not every beer has them, but spices and other additives help separate a normal stock beer from a specialty one. It could be the quadruple dry hopped that turns this into a triple India Pale Ale, which I'll be enjoying here shortly, or the additions of milk sugar that turns this Imperial Stout into Imperial Milk Stout. Not every deck has something that makes it pop, but if it does, it's where we talk about it.
So for today's episode, BigTuck
We're back.
decided he wanted to bring some 5-color magic with Ramos the Charming Dragon. Tuck, why don't you read who Ramos is and does?
So Ramos Dragon Engine is a 6-colorless legendary artifact creature dragon that's a mythic. That's a 4/4 flyer, and it says it's 1 cent on Card Kingdom, so go scoop those up. It has the stated ability of whenever you cast a spell, put a 1/1 counter on Ramos Dragon Engine for each of that spell's colors. Then you can remove 5 +1/+1 counters from Ramos, add double Wooburg. So 2 white, 2 blue, 2 black, 2 red, 2 green. Activate this ability only once each turn, not only at sorcery speed. So
why don't we Scooty shuffles on over to how the deck's going to win in the Yeast package and try to hear BigTuck justify a simple card draw spell in the Yeast package.
It's the best card in the deck. So this first one is this is a Yeast card. It's more of like a pet card for me, and it just happens to work in this deck, in my opinion, because it makes most people furious. Because we were talking about, are we doing this?
2, 1. Aurelia's Fury! Ex-Boros Instant Mythic.
Ha! For $1.35. So Aurelia's Fury deals X damage divided as you choose among any number of target creatures and or players. Tap each creature dealt damage this way. Players dealt damage this way can't cast non-creature spells this turn. The sky's kind of the limit on this, right?
Yeah.
Casting on other people's turn to stop them from comboing off. Casting on someone else's turn to stop them from attacking you with their giant creatures. Casting it on your turn to lock down the table from not doing anything so you can do your Ramos stuff. I feel like this card doesn't get played a ton, and it's just got so much, even though it's not a modal card, I feel like it kind of is, right? Like there's so many different modes of play that you can play into this, and each one is kind of unique and special in its own sense.
So it kind of sounds like you just described a hops card, how you're just being versatile and needing to adapt to whatever the board state's showing.
This can actually help you win, because then you can swing out and knock someone out with Ramos because they don't have any blockers.
Okay, sure. I also no. The only reason this is okay to be a Yeast card is because it is an X spell. Ramos can remove 5 counters to get 10 mana, and you could just point it at someone's face and kill them.
Sure, or multiple people's face and kill them.
Well, I don't think you're ever going to be able to produce enough mana into X with the way that
divided
this deck's built. Yeah, because it's divided. If it was just whatever you want, everything gets 10 or 20. Yeah, sure, absolutely. But no, the dividing part, you could definitely take out one player that maybe has enough protection or pillow fortiness that doesn't allow you to swing in for the red zone. So that's why it's fine. Because Ramos makes 10. Ramos alone, remove it. He gets 2 counters back. You're doing X equals 8 damage to someone's face. That's a lot. And then even if you wanted to say, okay, well then Ramos could swing in for 6. Essentially, that whole just removing counters from Ramos, you not investing a single land, could do 14 to 16 damage to one person in one turn.
Yeah.
So that's fine. Don't get cute. Don't get cute with the it taps stuff down so they can't block.
It's a cute card. It's a cute card in a cute deck. Look at Ramos. He's so handsome.
Oh my gosh. All right.
He's just a big baby boy.
My second one is another hops card. Don't know what this guy's thinking, but that's fine because you can argue, and I have seen people lose games to this card. It just takes a very particular opponent. Sometimes the best charms come from the devil. Where do the devils come? From Rakdos.
Oh.
So we're talking about Rakdos' charm.
It's very good.
So just for Rakdos, that's black and red. It's an instant, it's uncommon, it's 25 cents, and it states choose
so
one.
Good.
Exile all cards from target player's graveyard. That sounds like a hop effect. Destroy target artifact. That sounds like a hop effect. Each creature deals 1 damage to its controller. It's a hop effect 99% of the time, unless you play a token player. So, this card, it's great. Totally belongs in the section we talked about previously. But depending on your meta, this is where I think Brews and Builds and how we do grains, hop, yeast, and spice for deck construction, this is where your meta can determine where this card sits. For the meta that I play in, this would be a hops card. But you might be in a heavy token meta, so therefore this is a yeast card.
Yes, and I do play a lot of token deck here. This is a problem. Almost any card that says blank blank charm is probably a hops card, right?
It's a hops card. Okay, Tuck, what is your second yeast card?
We are also doing another charm here. This one is probably, again, they're all just hops cards. So I'm just going to say it. Teamer charm. There you go.
Oh, hey, that's mine too.
Oh, there we go.
Look at that. You're just little bitterness or unhappiness. We just missed out on a 3-2-1.
I'm not
you know
bitter
what, Collective? Egg his apartment. You egg his apartment right now.
Oh, yeah. Come on down. I hope you got a good arm to throw to the 4th floor.
Or you need to send a BigTuck hundreds of pounds of catnip to just send Mr. Bubs into like a coma state.
What is this? I had to sign for this. What is this? Then you would kill him. He's allergic to catnip. I think.
Oh, he is?
I think so. Like, because there's like he's only thrown up twice since I've had him, and both times is when I fed him the nip, which he loves.
I mean, that's like saying like, yeah, I think you might be allergic to like heroin. Why? Well, the last 2 times you did heroin, you threw up.
It's why I don't eat scallops. I had them twice when I was 8 years old, threw up both times, and got the spins. I haven't had them since. This is how we operate. It's 2 strikes and you're out. All right. Well, green, blue, red. It's an instant. Uncommon, 7 cents.
Choose one. Target creature you control gets +1/+1 until end of turn. It fights target creature you don't control. Hops. Counter target spell unless controller plays 3. Hops. Creatures with power 3 or less can't block this turn. This is actually, that's the only one.
Yes.
Because it's, you don't have to deal damage to like your Aurelius, or you kind of have to deal this is just, hey, you guys can't block, period. So I actually do think you can make a very loose argument for this to be a yeast card, similar to where if you wanted to justify Rogue's Passage in your deck as a yeast card, then it's like, okay, yes. I guess.
I agree with that, yeah.
Because here's where I get stuck. I've only seen one Ramos deck, that's Mikel's.
Which is completely different than this one, right?
Yes, because he was more using the counters on Ramos to further other spells and further other things. And yeah, he would occasionally, smack you for 8 or 10, but that wasn't his goal. I don't know what your goal is, so I don't know how much in the red zone you're actually going to be. Versus trying to leverage these counters for additional mana. So that's where I can say, loosely, if this is a red zone Ramos, I guess Teamer Charm can kind of make sense.
This is a red zone Ramos. Pretty much how it works is you just play the board like a fiddle, right? You control what's happening. If someone's getting too far ahead, you stop them with one of your charms while you're building your own army. And eventually it comes down to people who haven't touched you because they can't, because if they do, you fog or bounce or whatever. So they just get bored with it and start attacking each other. And then eventually you scoop in with a giant Ramos or have like a monster turn where you get to do a gazillion things. So the reason why I put this into Yeast is my own personal issue, because I played Prosh for potentially the last time because I'm sick of playing it. Because every single game is the same. I think I'm going to do your Sakaar Death Speaker build out of it too. So I'm really excited about that. But literally I lost the game because someone had a Gilded Goose that blocked Prosh. I couldn't draw an answer. I couldn't do anything. And guess what? Most flyers, power 3 or less, baby. Drakes, goose, birds, or burbs, if you will. All of power 3 or less, I'm going to bash you in the face with the 2020 Ramos for even having the gall to keep that back as a blocker.
Your Tuck's over here like, yeah, we got all these power 3 or less flyers. Drakes, goose, birds. Goose, thopters, goose. It was a Gilded Goose. I got beat by a Gilded Goose. That's amazing.
So pissed off. Oh, so upset.
All right, Tuck. All right. Well, why don't give us your last yeast card?
Here it comes. Here comes Mr. Combo's Meltdown. Whirlwind of Thought, baby.
Not a yeast card. Not a yeast card
in the deck.
Doesn't mean
best card in the deck.
It could be the best card in the deck
blue,
and not be a
red,
yeast.
White for an enchantment. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, draw a card. And it does have some flavor text, so it's finally my turn. This isn't my best, but it's something doable. Nyrex, Slipfinger, Master Thief. Kermit the Frog. So it's like not Ray Romano. That's after as Narset struggled to meditate, tiny dragonlings spiraled around her, conjuring thoughts of ancient clans.
Oh, there you go. See, I think the whole thing with Kermit versus Ray Romano, it's like they have the same kind of like echoey voice, but I think Kermit
Narset struggled to meditate. Yeah.
I think Kermit, as long as you kind of like make it still keep it like higher register, I think that's where the Kermit is, and like Ray Romano's just slightly lower. It's a good job.
There's like someone else,
not a good job with
that sounds like them. Incorrect. Every time I played this has been the card that has enabled me to win the game. Because you can cast ground creature spells, draw cards, put counters on Ramos, and just complete the cycle going again. You keep refilling your hand, keep finding answers, keep building Ramos out, and keep doing the thing over and over again. I understand that in the parlance of our show, a grain is a card that draws you a card. I would say, though, this card, more than any other card in the deck, helps me win. And what are these cards? Decks that actually, as we described, cards that actually help you win and close out the game. And Whirlwind of Thought does that more so than any other card in the entire deck.
Well, I would disagree. I think the World Tree does that because it gives you access to 5 colors and enables all your
lands. But that
lands.
doesn't help me win the game.
It
doesn't do anything. This is an active card that does something.
But you just said it enables you to help win the game. The World Tree turns all of your lands into 5-color lands. That enables you to win the game.
But I don't win the game when it's out. This Whirlwind of Thought plays directly into the theme of the deck, which we talked about plays with yeast cards. It refills my hand, makes Ramos humongous, and then I go to town on it.
I really think here, Tuck, this is speaking as your long-term co-host, I think you're just fixated on making this a yeast because you don't really have a yeast package. You don't have like actual like game winners. It's a lot of value.
It's Whirlwind of Thought. When this resolves, the game is over. The game is coming to a close.
So that's going to wrap up the yeast package. Well, let's head over to probably one of the most fun sections in the deck in Spice. And I'll go ahead and start this off with a card that I really, really like. I think we've talked about this before in a past Teamer deck because it's modal, but this card would be a nightmare to play on VEDH.
Yes.
We're talking.
I have the same one because I just put it in here. It's in my opinion, it's the second best card in the deck besides Whirlwind of Thought.
Oh my god. All right, 3, 2, 1. Guided Passage. Oh, Guided Passage. Ugh.
Guided Passage.
This is Teamer, blue, red, green, sorcery. It's a rare from Arcadian Masks for less than $1.
Invasion, sir.
Oh, Invasion.
Yes. For less than $1. Okay, here we go. Reveal the cards in your library. An opponent chooses from among them a creature card, a land card, and a non-creature, non-land card. You put the chosen cards into your hand, then shuffle your library. I would challenge someone to find 3 cards that I wouldn't want in this deck.
Oh. Okay, you keep talking about it. I'm going to see if I can find 3.
You think about it. For the most part, this is going to get me a land, which is critical, a creature that's going to be a ramp spell, more likely than not, and then also either a charm or some other interaction spell that we're going to get into, or a ramp spell. I mean, there's a few that are kind of stinkers depending on the board state, so not every single time it's going to be great, but for 3 mana, I'm getting 3 cards that are all going to be likely helpful for me in the long run. Now, you do have to play the sub game of, I'm going to flip this deck over, and then one of you guys is going to have to go through and choose one. So, which is kind of a pain in the ass, but the card's too fun not to do it.
Okay, I think I got them. The land, Cascading Cataracts.
Okay, not great, but still taps for a mana.
I believe I would pick Time Wipe for your non-creature.
Ooh, sure.
And then I think for your creature... Gosh, see, this one's tough. I think I would probably go with
Leyline.
One that I'm going to be talking about later, but I won't go into the reasons why, but I think I'd probably pick Sprite Dragon for the creature.
Oh, yeah, sure. Yeah. 100%.
So I think if I pick those 3, I don't think you're like, damn, that was a whiff. But I think if I did those 3, I think that is your worst case scenario. I
think that would be the worst case.
And you're like, okay.
Which is still like fine, right?
Yeah,
like, that's the best part. Like it's still a land, a board wipe, and a creature that's potentially punching people. So
that's fair.
I had this card in a different deck. I don't remember which one. And it's just a blast. I've not got to resolve this. I just put this in. I actually swapped out the card to put this in Moxfield because I've been playing around with that one. And then when I looked into this, I was like, I'm 90% sure I've Guided Passage in here. So I had to get the 2 lists and compare them side by side in Excel
my gosh, that's
to match them up. So what a pain in the ass.
Well, guys, that's going to wrap up the Spice package.